So, fam,
Damn.
let's talk about Turkey, Kurds, and Syria. And we're going to break it down a little bit. We're not going to go too deep into this because we still have some more stuff to go into.
Yeah.
But we're going to
This
go
is
over
the
it.
beginning, the introduction.
Basically, I want to talk about the only Democratic candidate that knows about Syria and what's really going on over there. And it says, Tulsi Gabbard. Okay? Trump is not removing our troops from Syria. He's just moving them from the northern Syrian border, allowing the Turkey to invade Syria and slaughter the Kurds. He lied to the Kurds, promising them our support while simultaneously preventing them from reconciling with the Syrian government and coordinating a common defense against the Turkish invasion. So I'm going to start right there real quick, too, because I had some talks with some people from the campaign, and I was really confused about this. It's very important to understand what's going on. The Turks, the Kurds have been betrayed and been used up and down that country for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only inevitable, really, form of peace we can have there is if the Kurds really unite with the Assad government. And this is where I was kind of confused because I said, well, how did Donald Trump prevent them from uniting together or forming a coalition to beat back the Turkish invasion that is currently taking place? Well, like Donald Trump did, he promised the Kurds he would be there for them, funding them left and right, so they didn't make a deal with Syria, with Assad and the government. And that's a very important thing to see because he told them, no, I got you. And then he kind of moved out the way so they can go through. Okay? In short, the impending slaughter and ethnic cleansing of the Kurds in northern Syria by Turkey is happening because Trump refuses to end our efforts to overthrow the Syrian government. The Kurds are just another casualty of the regime change war, which is supported by warmongering Republicans, Democrats, and the corporate media. Let me tell you about something that right now. When she talked about the crocodile tears and these people don't care, these people never said nothing about the Kurds.
Nothing.
Let me say this much about the Kurds. There are 12 million Kurds in Syria right now. Erdogan has been bombing them, and Turkey's been bombing them and keeping them repressed for a long, long time. That's our money, our weapons we give them. So nobody gives a damn about the Kurds. If they gave the damn about the Kurds, they'd give a damn about the Kurds that are being bombed on a regular basis in Syria.
Right.
Which also makes the situation very, very crazy because now you hear the Kurds have had a lot of problems because they're really kind of like, if you can think of somebody who's just like on edge, somebody who's paranoid, and somebody comes near you and they're going to hit you with a stick. That's the Kurds. They've been attacked and killed and slaughtered from all sides. So a lot of times a lot of the situations are coming forth about the Kurds not being the best of people, but it's like the situation that we have created by funding these Islamic terrorists and Al-Qaeda. Everybody's at each other's throats. Everybody's killing everybody. But make no mistake about it. We're really not pulling out troops. We're just moving our troops out of the way. Sorry, did you want to say anything?
I just wanted to say that this is how everything's connected. I mean, if you look at as to why, Donald Trump, and not only Donald Trump, but these neoliberals and neocons have wanted to wage war against Assad, have wanted us to they've manufactured these chemical attacks. They've made it look so we can go and attack them. So if they really cared about the Kurds, all of that would have never happened at all. And also, this reminds me of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which we will talk a little bit about later. But it is just in that way. We are supplying Israel the weapons. We just voted to give them endless aid to continue slaughtering Palestinians the way they're doing. And it is disgusting. And if I get sick and tired of hearing about how Americans want to go and help the Kurds and they want to go and help these people. We never want to help people. We just want to help our own interest. And that is the bottom line. So whenever I see that we want to help people, I'm very hesitant, especially when the Democrats and the Republicans all agree when it comes to this sort of issue.
And they just they're being very political about it, fam, like you're saying. And it's really not a sympathetic move towards the Kurds because, and I'm going to read this last sentence, I'm going to give you a little bit of take on it because, and this is something to think about it. The hypocrisy of warmongers like Nikki Haley, Senator Graham, and others who have demanded that we continue our regime change war in Syria, who are now crying crocodile tears for the Kurds, is nauseating. Starving the Syrian people through a draconian sanctions, strengthening terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, wasting billions of dollars, creating a refugee crisis, and now this impending genocide and ethnic cleansing of the Kurds. The warmongers consider these costs to be a small price to pay in their effort to change the Syrian regime. And that is the truth. Because if we had a friendly government other than Assad, and they wanted to wipe out the Kurds, we would be behind them.
Yep.
All these people who are crying about the Kurds wouldn't give a shit about the Kurds if we had removed Assad, had a friendly government where we can get our gas line through. They would have wiped out the Kurds no matter what. Okay? So it's BS. Like I said, all these Kurds are getting killed in Syria, and none of these people say anything about it. They don't care. And in fact, they okay the providing of the weapons and the money which are used to kill the Kurds in Syria and in Iraq and in Turkey as well. So
Nikki Haley's the
she's the ex.
no, she is the UN, right?
She used to be.
Oh,
She
okay.
left that
She
position
left.
about a year ago, and
the
she was a
UN ambassador, right?
Yes, to the
UN.
United
She-
States.
But did she leave or was she?
She left on her own. I think it was her decision. She left because now she's kind of going after Trump as well. She was also the South Carolina governor too. I think at one point before that.
We had a super chat earlier
Yes.
that says, Luis Brooks. Apparently Warren is going as a progressive for Halloween.
That's a good one. I thought about dressing up as a neoliberal. Maybe I'll dress up as Warren.
I'm gonna be Peter Lavelle.
That's hilarious.
And Freedom Tries says, "What's up, Johnny Sue? Karen Daly's there. David Meisel.
Oh,
Gooberwala.
Yeah, Gooberwala was saying that absent in this discussion is Damascus position. So that's maybe something we should look into in
Sure.
Damascus.
I mean, are you talking about Assad's position? Whatnot? Listen, here's the thing. Let me talk about the other part I want to talk about before we get to the other situation. I don't want to get too deep into this and stuff. If there was any type of deal to be worked out between the Kurds and Assad, the Syrian government, it would involve Assad, the Kurds, Russia, and the United States. Fam, can Donald Trump sit down with Russia and make a deal today? Or would he have been torn apart, Putin's puppet, disgusting? I mean, the way they're already spreading the narrative, and certain people have just gotten this so wrong. It's been so disheartening to see Ilhan Omar's position on this, saying, oh, what Trump is doing is only benefiting Russia and Syria. No, it's not. It's really hurting
Turkey.
them. It's benefiting Turkey.
Yeah.
More than anything. Because they're getting, listen,
Yeah.
Syria is not benefiting from this. Listen, here's something that has to happen. This is going to be a marriage that's an inevitable. It has to be Syria, and it has to be the Kurds. It has to be Assad, and it has to be the Kurds. Assad said to them in February, and there was a couple reportings on this, hey, are you going to rely on the United States? They're going to abandon you. You need to come here and make a deal. He said that in February, late January, February, and he was right, because what did the United States do? Once again, they abandoned the Kurds. Remember, they used the Kurds to fight in Iraq, and then they gave permission to Saddam Hussein to go gas them, to push them back? Let's not forget about that. That was after the first Iraq-Kuwait war. So,
Jesus.
Tulsi Gabbard is considering. Well, let's listen to Tulsi, what she's got to say. The debate is supposed to be here on Tuesday. I put it in there. On Tuesday, we will be streaming the debate. We have William Moses Somerville coming up from Orange County to come do the debate with us. So that's going to be awesome. He did the very first debate with us before. We've been trying to get him back in the studio. He's a busy man, but he's going to make it out here, and I can't wait for the man to come chill with us and do the debate. Now let's get to what our girl, Tulsi Gabbard, said.
I want to thank all of you so much for your support. I need to share something with you that's very important. There are so many of you who I've had the opportunity to meet in Iowa and New Hampshire who've expressed to me how frustrated you are that the DNC and the corporate media are essentially trying to usurp your role as voters in choosing who our Democratic nominee will be. I share your concerns, and I'm sure that all of our supporters throughout the country do as well. Now, the 2016 Democratic primary election was rigged by the DNC and their partners in the corporate media against Bernie Sanders. In this 2020 election, the DNC and the corporate media are rigging the election again, but this time it's against the American people in the early voting states of Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. They're attempting to replace the roles of voters in the early states using polling and other arbitrary methods, which are not transparent or democratic, and they're holding so-called debates, which really are not debates at all, but rather commercialized reality television meant to entertain rather than to inform or enlighten. So in short, the DNC and the corporate media are trying to hijack the entire election process. So in order to bring attention to this serious threat to our democracy and to ensure that your voice is heard, I'm seriously considering boycotting the next debate on October 15th. I'm going to announce my decision within the next few days, but I just want to say with my deepest and warmest aloha, thank you all again for your support.
Okay.
All right, fam. Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about this.
Well, your opinion. You want my opinion or your opinion?
I can go first.
All right, cool. Let's get the microphone close. Though,
Yeah.
So,
First of all, she is the only candidate. The only candidate. This includes Bernie, who has been outspoken about what happened in 2016. About what happened to Bernie Sanders. She was there. She was in the thick of it. She actually stepped down from being DNC vice chair, would have probably been chair of the entire Democratic Party to endorse him. And when she did that is when all of these smears came to haunt her. And they even more so came out when she decided to run. Now, she said the words rigged, and I have to clap for that because everybody else is so afraid of saying that word because it makes you sound like a conspiracy theorist. Oh, like there's no evidence that it was rigged. Oh, you shouldn't say that word because we just need more proof and blah, blah, blah. And then we have people like freaking Mike Figueredo from the Humanist Report saying that she's basically a sore loser, saying that it's not rigged and she just didn't poll right. Are you kidding me? This woman has been polling 4, 5, 6% in some of these major upcoming polls. And not only that, she made over 30 of the polls with 2% or more. But they just decided they weren't going to count them. And then the ones that they said when she made the ones that they were going to count, that they were supposed to count, they were like, oh, well, we can't count this because of X reason. So the fact that she even got there is a mere miracle based on just how hard they're trying to keep her out, especially that this happened right after she destroyed Kamala Harris. And now Kamala Harris, top tier candidate, is pulling at 1 to 2%. So let's be real here. I hate the gaslighting. I hate the idea that it's hypocritical. It's just so hypocritical to call anybody, whether it's a Tulsi supporter or Bernie supporter. As a Berner, I am like appalled that there are people out there who are Bernie supporters or who call themselves that, these commentators, gaslighting and making people out to be conspiracy theorists with this sort of centrist attack that you can't use that word. That's gaslighting. That is tone policing. It is completely wrong. And we have to fight against that idea that we can't use a word because of what it indicates. The 2016 primaries were rigged. I was there. I saw what happened. I saw the ballots that weren't counted. We saw the provisional ballots that were given. We saw what happened in New York. We saw what happened in Florida. We saw what happened everywhere. California, Nevada. At the caucuses, we saw how everything went down. You're not going to tell me that my experience is invalidated. Call it whatever the hell you want to call it. But at the end of the day, that's what it was. And Tulsi is not a sore loser. She's actually the only one that has the courage to do this. And this helps burners. This doesn't just help her. It helps burners. It helps the entire progressive movement. It helps the American people. And she's right on counting this out. Now, I disagree with her not going to the debates. And
well, she's still contemplating.
Right. But with even her, because I think the best thing she can do is take it to the DNC and literally tell them this in their face and tell the American people. So that's just my opinion, Pasta.
Well, I first of all, I have the question as pertaining to the rigging this time around. Where is the? I mean, for me, it's like it's obvious. The poll reasons to get people to debate with the way they cherry pick them, the way they do these polls, it's ridiculous. They're handpicking who they want to pick. So that's where I think the biggest part of the rigging is taking place right now. Am I missing something else other than the way the mainstream media is smearing her on a regular basis? Some of the questions in the debate, like that Hezbollah question, that was put there, was disgusting. It was designed to trap her, to put her in a corner, whatnot.
The Venezuela question to Bernie?
Yes. That was another one, too, as well. I mean, and the fact that, I don't want to talk about that, somebody making a tweet saying that Jorge Ramos asked fair questions. I mean, I'm bringing up the squad a lot right now because I was so big on the squad, but as we get forward and move forward, it's like they keep letting me down left and right. So, I mean, other than those areas, is there any other areas of actual rigging or cheating taking place that I'm missing?
Pimplegate.
Pimplegate?
Well, I just look like it's not. You can't conflate 2016 with now, but what I'm saying is, if you think that because they did this in 2016,
Yeah.
and they weren't held accountable, and not only weren't they held accountable, they tried to blame another country so they could deflate blame. To me, it's like, if it happened then and they weren't held accountable, do you not think they're going to do it again? And also, I'm having reports from my friends, like, there are weird things happening here, and that there's, I think Ashley Nicole put it up there, there's 60 something delegates, are super delegates, are representative.
Yeah.
And it's like, there are these things happening, and the voting machines, they're not open source. They won't tell us. They won't talk about it. All of these things happening, and the delegates, and the way the mainstream media is propping up Elizabeth Warren, propping up Joe Biden, the way ABC gave Bernie Sanders like 7 minutes of airtime total, the way that they're doing this, that is all part of the rigging. Like, you can call it whatever you want. You can say it's biased. You can use any word you like, but that is all part of the way they're trying to frame the narratives. I think they also had put out a count of the delegates in a graph. If you recall, we talked about this a few episodes ago, where it seemed like Elizabeth Warren was in Biden, and then Warren and then Bernie were in the lead. They were counting the delegates already. They were putting that into people's heads. They're manufacturing this idea that now Bernie's dropping out, that he's just not good. All of that is part of it. So don't tell me that this isn't happening to Bernie too. It's happening to Bernie. It's happening to Tulsi. It's even happening to people like Yang and Marianne Williamson, where they're shutting down their voices. But let's be real here. To say that this isn't a thing, you have to either be an idiot, or you have to be a centrist pawn of the establishment. Because there's no way to deny this. And I think people need to stop being afraid of saying these words and calling it what it is. And the system is rigged, but the system isn't. It's functioning as it should, like Bernie Sanders said. The system is functioning as it should for the people on the top.
Well, ladies and gentlemen on the chat, if there's other ways that we missed where you can also explain where you think it's also rigged, maybe we're meeting some stuff, please tell us. But let's talk about this while you're getting that stuff on the chat. Let's talk about, you said she should go, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's the thing. I'm kind of conflicted with this because I think this is where she shines.
I love
her
when
strategy. She goes after somebody. I mean, really, to tell you the truth, when she gets, and especially when they talk about foreign policy, she's the only one who knows what the hell she's talking about on that stage. And that shows. A lot of people who are not in the Democratic bubble or outside the echo chamber, they like that stuff. They see that. They go Google her, and they are a potential voter for her in the future. And I think that's great. But there's something about this. Okay, I'm accepted now. Hey, F you. Now you can't leave. Now I'm leaving. You know, there's something that seems a little chessy about it, kind of genius in a way. It's kind of like, what if she did go tell the Democratic Party to go scratch? What is the overall consensus going to be about? How is she going to be perceived? Are there going to be some people out there that are like so anti-Democratic Party, be like, hell yeah, I'm jumping with this woman right now. She just told them to scratch. Now, I also said if she does that, it's third party time, right?
Yeah.
And it might be a little bit too soon for that, you feel? Maybe? Or what do you think?
Johnny, did you want to say something before I go?
I really like the strategy that she's doing right now. I think it's all a plan, and she's making headlines even before the debate right now.
Right.
All these news articles have come out, CNN, MSNBC, all of them, New York Times, Time, so I made this meme.
Oh yeah, this is so great. Yeah.
So I made this meme, and basically it says, "Everybody, but Tulsi, why won't you go to the debates?" So then she says,
make it a big screen so everybody can see it without us there. Take us out of
Twitter.
Pretty much.
She ain't playing no games, fans. She's not playing games. So that's the whole thing. And like someone commented under it, and she says, someone commented under it. It says, fights to get back on the debate stage. Gets back on the debate stage. Haha. Now it's time. Now it is I who is canceling you. Boycotts, creates media attention, has dozens of invitations to speak for 15 to 45 minutes on her country's compromised voting process. And she's going to go on. She's not going to not go on. I think she's going to go on.
I think it's genius that she did this, because again, like what Johnny said, it literally creates this whole media buzz, and she's drawing attention to this. And she's, again, the only one who has the guts, the cojones to speak out and say something about this when everybody knows this is a big elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it because nobody wants to be perceived as a conspiracy theorist. But the people who have been talking about have been smeared as conspiracy theorists. Every time you mention the word rigged, like, and then even progressives are saying, oh, well, you can't mention the word because it makes us look like we're just whining and complaining. No, you're not just, no, that's not what you're doing. You're literally wanting to hold these people accountable because they're going to do it again because they weren't stopped the first time. So let's be real here. And then I do want to say I agree with everything. I do think she needs to go on because I think if she brings that right to their face, they're going to know she's going to be there. She can like be more aggressive and try to say something like, and if they attack her or if they do anything against her where it looks biased, if they ask her one of these questions, she can be like, see, this is just what I'm talking about. You're only asking me these questions, not everybody else. And that will not only just get her more play, that'll get her more support from people outside of the Democratic Party, people in the Democratic Party, independents, people who aren't even political are like, hey, she's right. Because I talk to a lot of people who aren't political and they're like, I don't even care about politics because it's all rigged.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's speaking to the majority of American
people. She's speaking to millennials, too.
She's speaking to millennials.
You said this before, Johnny.
Just all of us. And I think it's genius. And I think she needs to go, though, and make that be known. I think it would be a mistake not to go because I think she won't get her message out there as broadly. Yeah. Because even if people watch this as a type of reality show, that is what she can kind of just bring actual realness into the reality show, so to speak.
I don't know, though, but I have that girl that broke my heart that I would love that,
Jesus
you know,
Christ.
no, but I love the fact that she would call me and like we would get back together and then I would dump her ass. You know, like that's what I'm kind of feeling like this. Like, baby, let's get back together. You're cut. You're canceled now. So there's something like really cool about that really says like I think a lot of people will be like, whoa, like if you saw Friday, there's a part where Chris Tucker and Craig go, damn, like you know what I'm saying? Like if she did that, I think the overall consensus of people who really aren't into politics, who really aren't in our echo chamber, who really aren't in the political bubble, that would just say, wow, this is awesome. And Progressive Conscience, I'll ask her that question in 1 second. We will talk about it. Progressive Conscience, ask a question. We'll get to it. But there is something really awesome about the fact that she would cancel them. I just think the momentum and everything she would get, the eyes that would open up and like, whoa, wait a second, this girl got back in the debates and she canceled them?
I just think it would. I just think the opposite. I mean, I think if she didn't go, she wouldn't be able to get her message out to as many people, and she can still have that effect if she throws it in their face. Anything they do now is going to be viewed with a microscope. Anything they do against her in these debates, because she can be like, see, you're proving my point. This is exactly what's going on. Yeah. You guys are proving my point. And that's it. And people are going to be like, damn, she was right. And she's like, see, I can now. Then she can be like, oh, I'm going to boycott these.
That's what I'm saying.
It
exposes them. Like now people are going to be more aware and everything.
And we talked about something the other day. Like you said, Bernie's not going to drop out because you think Tulsi's not going to drop out now and go third party because she's going to go along, grab some of those delegates and eventually give them to Bernie.
Yes.
Think about this one, though. If she jumped out now, started the third party, won the third party, started running, got a whole force. Wait a second, just listen. Bernie wins the nomination. Now she comes as the VP. What kind of combination would that be for heading towards the general election, going at Donald Trump?
They would blame her. They would say
she's... Come on, Donald.
They would say she was taking votes away from him, and people would not
outside
be happy
of the
about
Democratic Party taking votes away. I mean,
it doesn't matter. People might.
They would blame her for the re-election.
She's going to get blamed anyways. So I'm just something to think about. Listen,
I disagree with that. But
let's get to this. Let's get to this question real quick because somebody asked something the other day. Progressive Conscience. Hi, Progressive Conscience. Thanks for watching. I want to get back to the comment when he said or she said, "So are you okay?" Let me find it. Where's it at? It said something about, are you okay with Tulsi's comments about Ellen?
No, we talked about it yesterday.
We talked about it yesterday.
We talked about it yesterday. You should go see yesterday's video. Obviously, we're not okay with her comments on Ellen, but to me, I look at actions over words. Like I said, I'm not okay with a lot of people that I support, including Bernie, AOC's comments on warmongers. Talking about McCain, talking about Obama, talking about Hillary Clinton, AOC's flirtations with Elizabeth Warren, her flirtations with Hillary Clinton. I'm not okay with it either. I consider Hillary Clinton a warmonger. Yeah. And am I canceling her? No. Am I canceling Bernie? No. And I think it's, that's whataboutism. It's not whataboutism. I'm like, if I'm going to cancel someone for tweeting something terrible that I completely disagree with. I think there's a limit to who you can be kind to. Warmongers must be held accountable, period.
Yeah.
I can vouch my dissent. I can tell her, which I did. I don't agree with this. I think this is wrong. I think there's a limit, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, does that take away from every single action she has done? The Stop Arming Terrorists Act,
Right.
the Securing America's Elections Act, things that nobody else signed on for, by the way, nobody else helped co-sponsor. No, like, again, a lot of the liberal left and a lot of the right get so emotional, and they only look at the emotional reactions on Twitter and the whole tribalism of Twitter. I'm really sick of it. And frankly, like, I think that's just so detrimental to progress. We need to step back and look at people's actions. And yes, I might not agree with everything you freaking tweet or say, but again, I have never agreed with one person on every single thing. And I bet you, even if you're married to someone or whatever it is, you're not going to agree with them 100% of the time. Yeah. So that's the bottom line.
Tulsi panders to Ellen voters. Now they looked her up. Smart move, Tulsi. It always seems like there is something designed when it comes to that. And once again, I'm not going to praise the move, but you're not protecting George Bush. You're protecting Ellen. You know what I'm saying? So it is kind of like
I still think it's wrong.
It's wrong, but once again, it's not for me. It's not a strike. It's not something I'm going to walk away from. And you know how I feel about George Bush.
Yeah.
George Bush to me is the worst president of all
Absolutely.
freaking times.
Absolutely.
Definitely in my times and whatnot. But even with the Joe Biden things, when she was kind of going after Kamala and Elizabeth and Corey for that, there seems to be this buffer zone. And then again, she kind of panders to those voters or those people where she can try to bring them in. I think with Ellen, just like on The View, if you watch Tulsi go on The View now, she's attacked 1/10 the time she was attacked last time. I mean, they really went after her. But now they kind of opened up. Even Meghan McCain has kind of opened up to Tulsi.
Yeah.
So I think this is kind of like this general kind of the mass amount of people who watch all these shows where she's kind of signaling to them to maybe pick off a couple votes. Is it a good move? I don't know. But once again, it seems to be analytical when she does this
She's
stuff.
attacking the hypocrisy of it, right? Every time she does this, she was attacking Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party's hypocrisy to go after Joe Biden for these things that he did long ago, instead of focusing on the policy that they could have easily beat him of right now, and how they're weaponizing that to prop their own candidacy. She went after the whole tribalism of Twitter, like the whole canceling culture. That's what she's going after, and I know that because I know how this is how Tulsi is. She just hates the hypocrisy and all that. And I myself, I agree with her in that sense. Like, I hate the hypocrisy of people that want to cancel everybody because they say one thing they don't like, and they're unwilling to listen and unwilling to just sit there and like look at things and not be so reactionary. But at the bottom line for me, of course, is warmongers should not be propped up in any way, shape, or form, and any sort of semblance of you doing that is wrong. And I hope she can learn from that. And again, I hope she reads all the comments, because a lot of her supporters were completely voicing their dissent, like saying, sorry, Tulsi, this isn't it, this is bad, blah, blah, blah. So that's also pointing to a lot of the people that of the TYT network that said that call the Tulsi supporters Tulsels, and that say that she they never criticize her. Or I saw nothing, so many Tulsi supporters saying, Tulsi, this is bad, delete this, Tulsi, don't do this. Like, they criticize her. It's just they're not reactionary and emotional and are going to go cry because she tweeted something that they didn't like.
The people saying that they're canceling her already canceled her.
Yeah, they never were. They're looking to.
I didn't think as many people canceled her over this as the word choice.
Yeah.
The word choice made everybody just freak out.
To me, it's a valid concern.
Yeah, but it's not policy on paper. It's like my friend said.
Right.
They're like, you're talking about sounds, the reverberation of sounds that are pissing you off.
You know
what I'm saying? It's like the word choice shouldn't be like a cut, done, gone thing.
But when
it should be her policy or what comes out.
Sure, but when people like Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg use that word, you have to be very careful and read the room as to what do you mean by that? You know, she's a very literal person, so she doesn't really always do that well. You know, and so I think that was a mistake that of course she should have been held accountable for, and now she's putting out her plan soon, so I guess we'll have to wait and see what that plan is.
She was pretty consistent. She was like, didn't raise her hand when, like, the first time on the stage when they said, are you gonna,
but nobody's eliminated private insurance.
Nobody has,
thing.
but that's why everybody raised their hand and lied.
Yeah, they
or
all
didn't know
lied.
what they were doing or don't know what their bill is.